Okay, perfect.
Okay. I don't know what that was about.
I'm not quite sure either, but hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Awesome. So
I don't
we'll
know which
get
way to
right.
look though. Which way do I look? I've never done it this way before.
Oh, you look at the camera.
Yeah, because I never when I do mines, it's the person is on, they're just at the top of my screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you do it horizontal,
Yeah.
then you can do split screen.
Oh, I never knew that. So I learned something new today. I guess it's true when they say you learn something new every day.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining. I'd love for you to tell everyone your name, who are you, what do you do, and then we'll get started.
So hello everyone, I am Robin Devonish, the Self-Publishing Maven, your go-to girl for writing, publishing, and profitability. Thank you, Natasha, for allowing me to grace your platform and share a little bit of what I know about publishing books. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, so how did you become the publishing maven? Like, tell us a little bit about that story.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the super short story. You heard the long story a couple of weeks ago when we were on your show. But basically, in 2007, I wrote a book, and it was a good book. However, I made some mistakes in publishing it, and I got into a contract, and I had to pay to get out of it. Just spending a lot of money and time and energy because I just kept making the wrong mistakes, not really being knowledgeable about self-publishing. I started to educate myself on self-publishing, and not only did I start to educate myself, people started asking me what did I do to publish my book, and so I started to teach people for free. And eventually someone said that I should consider doing it as a business, and I said, well, not a bad idea. And so that's how the Self-Publishing Maven was born.
Perfect. Okay, and shout out to everyone who's joining the live stream. Thank you. I'm sure they're part of your tribe, and hopefully my tribe too. So thank you for joining, and anyone who's watching this on the replay, thank you for watching. Okay, so I guess when it comes to publishing, I'd love for you to kind of share some of that knowledge you've gained as to, like, quote unquote mistakes or things that people don't know, like either misconceptions or things that they should know before jumping down the path.
Well, I think the main thing is that you need to do your research, and you need to get with an expert that knows what they're talking about, that has a track record of, a level of success in terms of publishing books and just knowing what you need to do. Stay away from that person that that they publish one book on their own, and now all of a sudden they can help everybody else publish their books. Beware of those people, because I've seen many people be taken advantage of by that, whether it's friends, whether it's family. So do your research and just get with a professional. And what I say with me is, I understand that everybody that talks to me is not going to work with me. However, I'm always willing to share information. And so once you have, just get good information before you, make any decisions. I would say that's the number one thing I would say.
Number one thing. So where do they go, outside of google.com, what is, like, really great resources, websites where they can learn who are the experts that could potentially help them on this
that
journey?
would be me. That would be me. Like, I'm not going to plug anybody else at this moment. That would be me. We're not going to plug anybody. Now, once you talk to me, depending on what you need, I can, share some additional information. But I am the expert. You need to come to me first. And if I can't help you, then I'll make sure I direct you to who can help you.
Gotcha. All right. Well, with that, then share your website so that people know crystal clear where to go.
Yes, girl. RobinEDevonish.com. RobinEDevonish.com. Hey, Miss Teresa.
Awesome. Okay, so now I titled this program, right, the 4 reasons to publish a book. what are 4 reasons why someone should write and publish their book right now?
Okay, so the first reason someone should write and publish a book is if you're looking for another source of income. Having a self-published book is a great way to earn some extra money because it can lead to other things. So that's number one. Number two is because it helps you to be a expert, you know, credibility. It lends credibility to you being an expert depending on what you're talking about, right? So if you're talking about relationships, if you're talking about love, if you're talking about marriage, you know, you're talking about book publishing, whatever you may be talking about, you need to have some type of book that can just put that extra stamp on you. And nowadays, to be honest, you know, they say that the book is now the business card. People want to know, did you write a book? You know, you're saying that you're an expert, but where's your book? I need your book. So number 3 is, you know, once, you know, you're starting this extra income, you know, you may want to have this for credibility, but number 3, you want to build a following. Having a book is a great way to build a following, especially when you are speaking in the speaking arenas. It's a great way because once you get off the stage, once you get off of the platform, wherever you are, people, they buy you before they buy the book, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And so if you have this book, it'll help to build a following. You know, you're gathering people's names and email addresses. You're building your following. You know, that way, if you come out with another book, you can share that information with them. Or if you decide that you want to have some type of event, you know, it's all about building a following. So the third reason would be to build a following. And the fourth reason to actually write a book is to leave a legacy. To leave a legacy. You want people to know that you were here. You want your kids and your kids' kids to say, listen, this is what my great-grandmother or my great-grandfather did. They wrote a book. It's your stamp on the earth, right?
I love it.
And so just look at, you know, how many, you know, different books are out there. And, you know, there are certain books that are classics. There are certain books that there may be old books, but the bottom line is that you want to leave a legacy. It's to say that I was here, that this is what I did, that this is what I achieved. And so even in the whole legacy portion, if you're someone that you don't necessarily want to write a book because you want to make a lot of money, you just want to write a book because you want to leave something for your kids, you could do that as well. Or you could just, you know, choose it to as an accomplishment that, you know, I have this accomplishment. This is what I did. This is what I wanted to do, and I follow through. So those are the 4 reasons. So a quick recap. Number 1, another source of income. Number 2, you know, to add credibility to your expertise. Number 3, to build a following. And number 4, to leave legacy. So those are the 4 reasons. Of course, there are more than 4 reasons, but I picked those as the top 4 of why everyone should write a book.
Perfect. And Teresa, thank you for adding questions. This is why I love doing live streams, so everyone can engage with you. So first question of the night, why does it take us so long to write, and how do we get out of our own way?
Well, I think it takes you so long to write because you haven't applied yourself. I mean, when I was ready to write a book, I wrote my book in a weekend. Right, because when I wrote my very first book, it took a weekend because it was inside of me. So I say the same thing for everyone else. It's inside of you, but you have to get to the point where you're going to apply yourself. And if you apply yourself to that moment, then you'll be able to get it done. And how do you get out of your own way? You just make a decision. You could create a schedule, create a writing schedule, say that this day, this time, you know, I always tell people, if you could commit to 1 hour a day, 3 times a week, you could get your book done. I say that to everyone. 1 hour a day, 3 times a week. And what actually happens is you end up writing more than 1 hour. But if you can commit to that, then you can get out of your own way and it doesn't have to take a long time to write. So I hope that helps, Teresa.
Okay. And logistically, what advice do you have on getting started? Because I think, you know, coach to coach, right? I think a lot of people struggle with that beginning step. Did you, for the books that you've written, is it an outline? Is it a summary that you started from? Logistically, how did you craft the book?
Well, of course, outlines are excuse me, are very good. Outlines are necessary. So I, teach people a simple outline where I tell them to, number the page from 1 to 12, and then just, make a list of things that they want to talk about in the book.
Okay.
Make a quick list, not a long list, but a short, not a lot of words, but maybe 3 or 4 words, what they want to talk about, that they should not be duplicated. And so then they, don't worry about what order it should go in or anything like that. Just write the list. Then after you write the list, go back over the list and then take 2 of the topics away and then put it in alphabetical order. And so that can help you with the starting of the outline of what you want to write. And then I also tell them, once you get to that point, then take those other topics and write 3 subtopics under it. So some notes in terms of what you want to write, what you want to share in each particular chapter. That way you'll know that you're not duplicating anything. And that, each chapter is different and is building upon the next, upon the next, and upon the next. So that's some of what I share.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I was just speaking to an author who's written 8 best-selling books. Now, that person is a strong advocate for feedback, and he kind of has a tribe of people that he kind of involves in the writing process. What is your thought about kind of building out a support tribe for yourself for reading and editing and giving feedback, or is this kind of a solitary kind of endeavor when you are self-publishing?
No, I think that you definitely should have a team and a tribe, because with self-publishing, you don't have the backing of what a traditional publisher would give you. So I definitely, would say have a team of people. But let me just say this. It's good to have a team, but have a team that's not emotional. And have a team. No, really, no, look, I'm so serious. Listen, I'm so serious when I say this. The reason why I say that is because people are very quick to be critical about something that they have no idea about. So if I'm asking you to be a part of my team, I need you to be clear. I need you to be concise. I need you to give good feedback. I need you to share how I can be better at something. And so even if I hire people to be a part of it, for instance, let's just say I hire an editor, but then I ask you to be the reader. Don't come back to me and say, well, who edited your book? No. Your job is to read the book so that the editor can do what they need to do. You understand what I'm saying? So all the extra is not necessary. So whatever you, no, really, and this is real talk.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna pick a team that is supportive of your project, that they're serious about your project, that they really want to help you to be a successful author, and stay away from the emotional people. So that may mean you may not be able to have your mother a part of your team, because all she's gonna think about is her baby. You understand? Relax. So that to me, that's what's really important, that you pick the right team. So yes, having people that read for you, having people that help you with the marketing, have people that help you with your social media. If you can get a tribe and a team, having people to solicit more readers for you, all of that, definitely go for that. But please, please, please stay away from the emotional people that you want to, that's going to be a part of your project, because it's just going to frustrate you and aggravate you as an author, because you're already emotional and nervous as an author. All authors are emotional and nervous. That's the bottom line, especially at the end. When the book is about to be published, they get real nervous. So you don't need anyone fueling that. So I
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, I've had to listen. I've had to put out quite a bit of fires, and usually it's people that these people have never
Yeah.
even written a book, or they've never even published a book. So why are you even
Yeah.
listening to them? Like, keep them in the confines of what they do. So I digress. Let's go back. But that's,
Okay.
you know, that's the truth.
Okay.
That's the truth.
Okay. For people who want to write a book, but maybe they're a coach, maybe they're a consultant, or maybe they have a product-based business and they are trying to figure out what type of book to write. Do they write about their story? Do they write about it, you know, a product or service? What kind of advice do you have for kind of figuring out your purpose for the type of product that you're ultimately going to create with this book?
Well, I think that if you have a business, it's always good to, you know, write some type of book that's associated with it. You know, maybe a how-to book, something to teach people.
Okay.
I think that that's always a great idea,
Mm-hmm.
something to do. With the personal book, I think it depends on what it's related to. Like, for instance, you know, I have some clients that they've written books based on the fact that they're a domestic violence survivor. So they don't necessarily have a business, but they wrote this book about their life and their story dealing with that. Like, for me, I wrote a book about, you know, me dealing with breast cancer. So I think it really depends on, you know, what your focus is. But let me say this, that you don't have to have a business to write a book. You don't have to have that, but understand that having a book can be a business.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And how with your clients, what are some of the things that you talk about when it comes to, because it's more than just writing the book, right? You have to write it and edit it and, you know, kind of eventually then publish it. And then comes the marketing and the social media. How do people get prepared for like the business of being an author?
Well, I mean, that's all part of it. Part of it is a sales plan. You need to have a sales plan. A sales plan and a marketing plan are not the same thing. So you need to make sure you have some type of sales plan. You know, how many books do you want to sell within a certain amount of time? Maybe 30, 60, 90 days, maybe within a year. What else do you want to create by way of this book? You know, what are some of the things that you want to do? So those are some of the conversations I have with my clients. Like, who do you want to reach? Who do you want to talk to? All of those things are important, especially within the writing process and the publishing process. But most of all, what I tell people is concentrate on completion and not perfection until we get to the publishing part. So the completion part is the writing part. We can get to the perfection part when we get into the publishing part. However, I always say, do you want it done or do you want it done right? So there's a difference. So what I mean by that is sometimes people are very impatient with their process. And they say, well, I want this book to, you know, it's taken too long. It took me a year. So what? If it takes a year, depending on what the book is about, depending on what you're talking about, and especially if you're saying that you want to build a business and you don't necessarily have a following, it may take a little longer for you to put your book out because you need to start drawing people in and letting them know that the book is coming. Right? So you don't want to be a pop-up author. You don't want to be someone to just say, oh, I wrote a book, go on whatever website and purchase it. Yeah, your friends and family will purchase it, but then after that, it's going to be crickets because you didn't prepare people. You didn't let people know. So those are some of the things that I talk about with my clients and share with them. You know, concentrate on completion, not perfection with the writing part. The perfection part can come with the publishing. You know, also be flexible. And the thing is, do you want it done or do you want it done right? And sometimes doing things right, you know, the way that you really want it, it takes time.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's interesting. I find that especially with creatives or authors, you know, when it is time for them to promote what they're doing, whether it's a book, whether it's an event, and, you know, they have this kind of conception of like, well, I don't want to be too salesy. I want people to like tune in, but I don't want them to feel like they have to buy something, or how do you handle that? Because I think that's always so funny, this like kind of negative association with sales and like promotion, which is bizarre to me since that's what everyone is doing.
Well, I think the key is to
Yeah.
to pay attention to the fact of they're buying you. So if you present yourself, whatever you have to offer by way of that, they're gonna purchase it. It's that simple.
Gotcha.
So that's how you get away from the whole sales part.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? You do that by, sharing information. You do that by, live streaming. You do that by, attending different events and all of that, and networking and meeting other people and forming relationships. That's how you do it. And then, of course, in those forums where it's all about selling, then you just sell it. Like, for instance, if you're at a book expo and there's a whole bunch of other authors there, you can't say, oh, I don't want to stand here and sell. Everybody's here for the same thing. So you could, you can say to someone, did you hear about this book? This is what my book is about. Give your pitch. So I think it's the forum that which you are talking about it. Of course, you don't want to sound salesy, but at the end of the day, if you just give of yourself, people will purchase what you have. They will.
I love it. Absolutely. Okay. And for you, when you were starting this and you were promoting your book, what would you say was the best kind of return for your investment in time and energy to market your book?
So this is the thing. Remember, when I started, I didn't promote my book because I didn't know that I had to.
Yeah.
I was a pop-up author. So what I'm sharing is part of the mistakes that I've made. So I was a pop-up author. I just, I put the book out and said I wrote this book. And so yes, my friends and my family purchased the book. And some people after that purchased the book. But I didn't know anything about promoting. I didn't know anything about sharing. I didn't know and really at that point when I started, self-publishing was getting popular. It wasn't as popular as it is today. Remember, I wrote my first book in 2007.
Yeah.
It wasn't as popular back then as it is today. So now, of course, I tell, my clients or whoever I talk to, there needs to be some promotion involved. There needs to be some, some putting it out there. That it has to happen in order for you to garner any success that you're looking for. But let me say this as well. I tell people, because some people say, oh, I want to be on a bestsellers list. I don't subscribe to that. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to that because I know plenty of bestsellers that their book is not even online.
Okay.
So, and I always tell people, I think you should go for an award than trying to go for the bestseller list, because the bestseller list, listen, let's be honest, they're updated on a regular basis, and depending on what list you are on, they're updated every hour. So you are a bestseller for an hour. Oh boy. But did that make you any money? Did that do anything? Did that, so you could say, yes, I am a such and such bestseller, but some of these lists, they update every hour.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay.
So I say go for awards, because that will give you the stamp of your craft as a writer. And I always give the explanation of when someone is nominated for an Oscar, they'll say, even if they don't win, they'll call them an Oscar-nominated actor, actress. That name will always stay. That part can never be taken away. So, an award-winning author, a nominated award-winning author. You understand? So I tell people, go for the awards. Bestseller is fine, but. And if that's what you aspire to do, fine. I'm not gonna quash your dreams. If that's what you want to squash your dreams, if that's what you want to do, fine. But to me, it's just too much energy, and I think you'd be better served and better respected as an award-winning author, as opposed to being a best-selling author. That's just my opinion. Now, some people
Okay.
may not agree with me. That's fine, but that's my opinion.
Listen, that's why we're here tonight, to hear from you and share all your tips. So no, absolutely, I love it. What are your thoughts on people who want to write a book who may not feel like they're great writers themselves? Like maybe they feel like their writing isn't up to par. And some people are very hard judges of themselves, but what advice do you have for those people?
I say hire a very good editor, but also hire an editor that has a level of sensitivity, and be transparent and let the editor know that you have this issue. And so I'm going to be transparent of a situation that I had, and it didn't turn out well. And I'm going to be honest. So I had a client, a couple of years back, and this particular person did not tell me that they were dyslexic. They didn't tell me that. So when I got the book, it had over 5,000 errors in it when I got the book. And now the person said to me that I'm concerned about my writing abilities, but they never said to me that they were dyslexic. Now, I don't have an issue with that, right? I was willing to go through the book and do what needed to be done, because I'm the type of person I don't want to kill anybody's dreams. I don't want to, if you want to be an author, we're going to work it out to make sure that you're an author. And if I have to ghostwrite your book and nobody knows, that's what I'm willing to do. However, you as the author, it's your responsibility to be completely honest with the editor and let them know that that you have some issues with writing, and that with their editing, that they need to just direct you. And so another plus is, if you get yourself a content and development editor, they will be able to help you, to direct you in terms of what is needed for the book, what extra writing you may have to do, what you may need to take out, and all of that. So getting a content and development editor, one that's sensitive, but you as the author being transparent, it helps.
Okay. Now, with that situation, how did that turn out? Did it turn out okay, or?
No, it didn't. It didn't, because the person was still sensitive about, I didn't make them feel bad, but I did tell them that they should have said to me that was the, it was the case, because it changed the timeline. So so that's another thing. If you have an issue with writing, then it changes the timeline. And so this person wanted me to work miracles
in a short,
over something that had over a short period of time, and the book had over 5,000 errors. And I'm not saying that to talk about them. I'm saying that as an example, because you see, I didn't say whether it was who it was, or he, she, or whatever. I said they, right? So that it's important that you're honest with the editor.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And it's interesting that you bring that up. Now, would you say every person should be a writer, or do you think that there are cases where if someone has a message and they want to share it with the world, is a book always the right venue for them? Or could they, if the writing itself is going to be too taxing or too expensive to edit, should they consider other avenues? What are your thoughts with figuring out what your best medium is?
Well, I think that everyone has at least one book in them. If you live long enough and enough things happen, for sure. But if you can be an audiobook author if you want to. So if you feel as if my writing is not there, but maybe I want to speak my book, I want to be an audiobook author, you could do that if you want as well.
Interesting.
It really depends on you, because audiobooks are popular too. Right.
And do they have to have a corresponding written format, or no, you can just have an audiobook and audiobook only?
Well, I mean, I would think that you would have to have something in writing, even if it's in the form of notes, because there are some people that they could just flow and speak.
Gotcha.
Based on whatever messages that they may have, You know, for
Yeah.
instance, let me give an example. Let's just say you're inspirational or motivational speaker, and you have, you know, 5 hot topics, and you have a full presentation within those topics. You could create that into an audio book, just of you speaking your presentations, and sell it that way, and people could download it and listen.
That's very interesting, huh? Because I definitely have those types of presentations.
Yeah.
I love that. I love, love, love. Now, as we wind this down, because I know you're busy and I don't want to take up all your time, but what are some of the...
I'm fine. So you could, you know, I'm good. I'm good. If you want to go, it's fine. But I'm good. I allotted this time for Natasha.
Thank you. Thank you. When it comes to cost, what are some costs, like total budgets that people, and I could understand that there could be a range depending upon the type of book and how you publish, but what are some costs that people should keep in mind and the budgets associated with being a self-published author?
Well, there are flexible costs and then there are fixed costs, right? Okay. So fixed costs would be the copywriting, getting your ISBN number. Those are fixed costs. Flexible costs are the editing, the book cover. Those are flexible costs depending on who you go to, what type of cover you want, and what type of editor you're getting, right? So content, so really the most of your budget for your book, it really goes to the editing, to be honest. And especially if your book is a considerable size, it does go to the editing. And what I mean, editing can range anywhere from, you know, $300 to $3,000.
Okay. Wow, that's a big range.
It really depends. A book cover can, you know, I'll say a decent book cover, because some people, they go to these sites and get these cheap book covers and you could tell that they're cheap, but you know, book cover can run anywhere from a decent one from $100 to $500 or even more, depending on who you go to. I know some graphic designers that, you know, sell book covers for $1,200.
Wow. Yeah.
So it really depends. So you have to figure out what your budget is to put out the book. Yeah.
Okay. And audiobook, would you say is cheaper or around the same cost?
Well, it's definitely not as much as an actual, you know, physical book. Now, another route that people like to go is straight to ebook, because you don't have to print a book. But you still need to pay for the editing. So that part you're always going to have to pay for. You always should have an editor. No self-editing. You need to hire someone. But with an audio book, you can also make the decision of if you want to have your voice or if you want to hire someone to be the voice for your book. And so there are websites for that where people can audition to be the voice of your book. And then you just pay for that.
Okay. All right. And of the clients that you've serviced, and I'd love for you to break down a little bit more the type of services in detail that you offer, but of the clients that you work with, what would you say has been like the most meaningful lesson that they've learned from this process of writing and having their book self-published?
Ooh, most meaningful lesson? Well, the lessons vary, but I guess I can go to the last person who just received delivery of her books. She said to me, she said, I have the greatest respect for people who publish books. She said, I didn't realize that there's so many moving parts to it. So that's what she, you know, she said she didn't realize that. So she had respect for me as someone who helps people to do this, because she said she realizes that it was a lot of work on my part, on my end. Not that she didn't work, but she knows what we had to do, and all that I've shared with her, all that, you know, she's had to learn. And she said it's a lot. It's a lot, but it was good. You know, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't bad in her eyes. She just said it was a lot, and she has a great respect for people like me who do this with authors.
And with that, what do all the services that you offer for people who want to write a book? What can you do for them?
Well, I mean, I'm from idea to book in hand. If, you know, you have a concept and an idea of a book, we'll talk about, you know, how you can create this book. So there's coaching, I do book covers, I do editing, I do everything that is needed for your book. So once you come to me, you don't have to go to anyone else unless you want to, right? So sometimes people come to me just for coaching. They want to do their own book. They want to, you know, work with their own resources, but they come to me for the coaching of, you know, how to publish and the best places to publish and, you know, that whole sales plan and marketing and just how to show up as an author. And then some people come to me and say, I want everything. I don't have time to go around looking for different people. I need you to create this whole, you know, this whole thing for me, create the book for me, and, you know, work with your people, your graphic designers, your editors, and all of that, so that I can, you know, get my book.
Okay. And again, the website that they go to?
It is robinedevonish.com, robinedevonish.com, robinedevonish.com.
Awesome. Okay, so now with that, do you have any announcements or things that you'd like to share with the Dressing Room Mate family about books that you are promoting or anything of your clients? You know, feel free.
Well, I would say just be on the lookout. I'm starting my Books and Brunch tour. I'm kicking that off again this fall, where I'm coming to different cities, and also have a academy called the Next Level Publishing Academy. If you are an author, you're already an author or about to be an author, and you want to learn about, you know, how do you take your book to the next level? You know, what type of conversations, what type of networking, what are the things that you should be doing so that you can have the best success that you're looking for with your book? Then the Next Level Publishing Academy is Next Level Publishing Academy is for, you know, it's just for that author who's really looking to, you know, take their book to the next level and just do some great things of impact. Because the one thing that's interesting is that a lot of my clients, most of their books are books of impact. Like they want to impact in some type of way. They want to, you know, impact the world in some type of way, whether it's by way of, you know, breast cancer, domestic violence, things like that. So if you're looking for that impact, then inbox me for more information for the Next Level Publishing Academy. The next class starts next month.
Perfect. Okay, same website?
Yep, robinedevonish.com.
Okay, so Laylee Wilson, go to her website, and I also will share it in the comments at the end. Since I think she wants to talk to you about costs.
She knows me. She knows she can inbox me. Missy.
I love it. Well, thank you. I feel like you shared everything that there is, and you've definitely inspired me as well. I hadn't even thought about kind of the audiobook options, especially I do like so many presentations, so that's actually like a phenomenal idea, actually. So I'm really like, wheels are turning.
Yes,
feel the money coming.
That's right. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
One more thing I forgot. Yeah. I'm sorry. And for those of you who like to learn about new authors, I have book talk that I do on my personal Facebook page on Mondays and Tuesdays, normally at 7 p.m. I didn't do one tonight because I'm here with you. But tomorrow I will have an author. Wednesday I will have an author, and then we'll resume next week, Mondays and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Book talk.
Perfect. Okay, can you add that to the comments then, so that people can? Yeah.
Okay. Tune in.
Absolutely, so that people can tune in there. Yeah, I love meeting new authors, and as you know, I started the Dressing Room Mate Book Club, where I read a book a month because I wanted to hold myself accountable for reading more, and like, why not bring more people on the journey? And so this week we're going to be on Thursday, actually at 7. I'm going to be reading, going through Damon John's Rise and Grind. Have you read that one?
No, I haven't read it yet.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
good?
yeah. It is. It's so good. And what he does is, I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, but similar, like a lot of these like high powered, impact people, they're featuring other entrepreneurs and just influencers and people of really compelling stories. So yeah, essentially Damon is talking about what makes him grind, what are his grind points, and then what other, people that we should all be knowing, from Joel Osteen to Gary Vaynerchuk to oh god, so many people. He has Catherine Zeta-Jones, so many different
Okay.
highlighted influencers. So yeah, I would if you go to, I'll share my link, dressandroommate.com, on my recommendations page. I recommend his book along with so many others. So definitely check it out.
Okay. Okay, so
Awesome.
I have to recommend some of my authors to you as well. Because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have good
that would
books
be
too.
great. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. Yeah, 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 absolutely. Awesome. So as
Okay.
always, sister, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing your story. And I know that everyone tuning in on the live or on the replay really got a lot to think about when it comes to self-publishing and why it can really benefit their personal lives, their personal narrative, as well as their business. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. Thank
Awesome.
you. Bye-bye.
Hugs and kisses. Be good. Bye.